It is overtime here again at Old Favorite Friday, talking about incredible classic beers. And I've talked a lot about Dortmunders, especially in the last couple of years on this video series. I fell in love with the style years ago. And if you know my love of the Dortmunder Gold by Great Lakes, you'll understand that. This is the DAB Dortmunder Export. From their website, if you look at some of the information from this brewery itself, you'll see that this might be one of the first Dortmunders ever created. This beer comes back, or this brewery dates back to 1868, and this beer was created, from my understanding, from my research, right alongside with the brewery's founding. And if you don't understand what the Dortmunder is and why I love them so much, you know, the Pilsner, the German Pilsner, Czech Pilsners, those get all the love these days because they're crisp, they have this great minerality, this bitterness from the hops, but they don't have a big malt profile to them. They're not as interesting. I shouldn't say they're not usually as interesting in the malt department. When you go with something like a Helles, which is another German lager, then you've got a little bit more body, a little more richness, a little more malt flavor, but you're lacking sometimes in like that bitterness and the crispness, the edge of the beer, if you will. To me, the Dortmunder is the perfect marriage of those things, and this DAB Dortmunder really represents every one of those things when you pour this beer in the glass. You get these bready, slightly honey malt character without being over the top and sweet, or even, I would even say, being subtle with that sweetness. And then you have this lovely lemon zest notes to it, as well as this floral hop bitterness that comes in on the back end, grassy, herby, floral, which is that old world hop profile that you love in a beer like this. And there it's right there, right in the sweet spot, right in the pocket of having that nice hop profile with really, really delicious malts. And it's fantastic. This is a style of beer, it's 5.5% alcohol, that I really wish more American breweries were doing, and I wish there were more options of classic Dortmunders that were there on the shelves. I mean, if you go to, you know, the biggest craft beer store in South Florida, you might find 2, maybe 3, 4 examples maybe you'll find of these beers. Sometimes their freshness isn't great because they sit on the shelves for a long time because they're not as popular. But if you have seen these videos and see me kind of praising this style of Dortmunder, go give them a try, especially a beer like the DAB. This is pretty widely available, especially like a Total Wine and More, something like that. But obviously the Great Lakes Dortmunder is fantastic as well. There's some other ones out there. But you might find that this is right up your alley, just like I found it's right up my alley. When it comes to food and beer pairings here, because this has got a little more body to it and still has that crisp minerality and floral hop profile, I was thinking that you would do like a Chinese barbecue spare rib or a Chinese barbecue pork belly would go really, really well with this. Because it's got the body, and that honey malted sweetness will really bring out the sweetness in the sauce, while that bitterness in the back end really cleanses the palate, crisps it up, balances out the fat that's going to be inside of that dish. And those kind of like fruity lemon flavors also add a little bit of acidity to it. It's a really, I think it would be a really, really nice pairing there to try. And I would say a counterintuitive pairing, because you don't just think of a German style lager with Chinese pork belly. But I think that this just goes to show you how versatile a beer like this is. It doesn't have to be a pretzel with mustard or schnitzel or anything like that, even though those could be some good pairings too. But thank you guys very much for joining me as always on Old Favorite Friday. Please like and subscribe. See some other videos just like this, praising and loving on incredible classic beers. And we'll see you next week. Cheers.